The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman. And today, as we begin a brand new adventure for the Man of Steel, a strange situation has taken him to a small village outside of Metropolis. We'll join him there with his friend, the famous Batman, in just a moment. Summoned to police headquarters by Bruce Wayne, otherwise known as Batman, Clark Kent was presented with a puzzling mystery. According to police reports, there had been 3 recent bank robberies in the outskirts of Metropolis, all of them apparently committed by the same person, a man seemingly possessed of superhuman strength. And in each case, the stolen money had been delivered to a different charitable organization. As Kent and Bruce Wayne were talking, a call came in that another bank had been burglarized the night before, and that a passing motorist had seen the thief and reported he had been dressed in a blue costume and red cape similar to Superman's. As we continue now, Kent and Batman in his guise of Bruce Wayne have arrived at the village of Lynn Haven, 43 miles from Metropolis, where the latest burglary was committed. Sheriff Dawson is leading them to the rear of the 1-story brick bank building. Listen.
I'll show you how the feller got into the bank, but I'm telling you, you won't believe it. Well, here we are. You see that window?
Look at that, Kent. The steel bars were wrenched out of their frame.
Yes. Well, they probably hooked a steel cable to their car and pulled them out.
No, sir.
Well, how did they do it then, Sheriff?
There was only one feller. The one Doc Trumbull seen running out of here with the satchel, dressed up in the masquerade costume. I figured he ripped them bars out with just his hand.
Nonsense. They're solid steel bars, and they were anchored in concrete. Why, it would take Superman
Easy,
here.
chum.
I mean it would take a man of superhuman strength to do that.
Well, this here fella's got a heap of strength, Mr. Wayne. I figure he's the same one who broke into the banks in Glen Forest, Hightown, and Thomasville. He yanked the bars off a window in Glen Forest just like he done here, and he pulled 2 steel doors clean off of their hinges in Hightown and Thomasville.
No, I can't believe it.
Well, why do you say he did it with just his hand, Sheriff?
On account of there wasn't no marks on them windows or doors. None of the bars were sawed, and none of the doors were jimmied. And no explosive was used either. Why, you could see somebody just laid to and ripped them off.
Well, he could have used a cable.
I tell you he didn't. On account of he couldn't have used no cable on the vault door.
What do you mean?
Well, come on into the bank.
All right.
I'll show you. I never in all my born days did I ever see anything like it. Now, here's the vault room. Ain't no windows down here, and only the one set of steps to get down and up from the main floor. So how could the feller hook up any steel cables and run them outside to a car? It ain't possible.
Well, where's the vault you say he opened?
It's right around this turn, Bruce.
That's right. Well, how'd you know, Mr. Kent?
How? Oh,
Great Jupiter. Look, Kent. This big steel vault door was wrenched open.
Yes, and the door hasn't been cut and it hasn't been drilled. That means no explosive was used.
Of course there wasn't. I tell you, this Superman feller done it with just his own strength. Makes me shiver just to think of a crook that strong running around loose.
And there's only one man strong enough to rip this vault door open, and he's no crook.
Oh, thanks, Bruce. Hey, wait a minute. Better not touch the door yet. There may be fingerprints on it.
I imagine it's already been dusted for fingerprints. Right, Sheriff?
That's right, young feller. The only prints on it was the cashier's, the president of the bank, Mr. Hoffman, and Joe the porter. Joe's a wingy little fellow, and apart from Mr. Hoffman and the cashier not being big, strong fellas either...
They know the combination of the vault.
That's right. Say, you two think mighty quick.
Look, Sheriff, your report said a Dr. Trumbull, I believe, saw somebody leaving the bank last night.
That's right. Doc seen the feller run out with a satchel, which must have had the money in it.
Why didn't he chase him?
Well, he couldn't. Doc had Mrs. Sawyer in the car. You see, she had appendicitis, and he was taking her to the hospital.
Oh, I see.
Also, he says this feller got away awful fast. Just like he was there 1 minute and going up and smoked the next.
What? You mean he just vanished into thin air?
Yep, that's just about the size of it.
Where can we see Dr. Trumbull, Sheriff?
Oh, now, let's see. It's 11:30. Doc ought to be getting home for lunch about this time. I'll take you over there.
Oh, nice of you to go to all this trouble, Sheriff.
Yes, it certainly is.
Oh, it ain't no trouble at all. Maybe you'll give me a big write-up in your newspaper, Mr. Kent. If you do, it might help me some come election next June. I won't mind too much if you want to take some pictures of me either.
This man you saw leaving the bank last night, Dr. Trumbull, can you describe him to us?
Why, yes, Mr. Kent. I got a pretty good look at him. He came around from the rear of the bank just as I turned out of Elm into Main Street. My headlights were right on him.
What did he look like?
He was a pretty big fellow, well built.
How big?
Why, I'd say he was just about your height, Mr. Kent. Come to think of it, he was just about your build, too.
What time was this, Doctor?
Early this morning, about 1:15.
Did you get a look at the man's face?
No, he was wearing a mask.
Oh.
But he had this strange costume on.
What was it like?
I told you, Mr. Kent.
I'd rather Dr. Trumbull told me, if you don't mind, Sheriff.
Well, it was a blue skin-tight costume with a flowing red cape. Just like...
Yes?
Well, like the costume Superman wears. But I can't make myself believe it was Superman. He's always been on the side of law and order. He's one of the finest and greatest men we have. It couldn't have been Superman.
Of course not.
What makes you so sure, Mr. Kent? How do you know?
Well, I know. At least I think I do.
You think? Now, look,
Why,
Kent.
I never did believe all the talk and stuff in the papers about this Superman fella. Never believed there was a Superman. But, well, now I ain't so sure.
There's a Superman, all right. But he didn't have anything to do with the bank robbery last night.
I don't know. Nobody but a feller like they say Superman is could have ripped them bars off the window and pulled the vault door off and done the same things at the banks in Glen Forest and Hightown and Thomasville.
Excuse me. Dr. Trumbull speaking. Who? Yes, he's here. Just a moment, please. For you, Sheriff.
For me? Oh, much obliged, Doc. Yeah? Who wants me? Oh, hello, Sid. No, I didn't catch the feller yet. It's actually... What? What's that? Give me that again. You don't mean it. All of it? Well, I'll be... Sure, I'll be right over. Wait for me, Sid. Oh, the whole of crazy. No, I can't believe it.
Well, what's wrong, Sheriff?
Wait till you hear this, Mr. Wayne. You too, Mr. Kent. And Doc, you know the $10,000 that was stolen out of the bank last night?
Of course.
What about it?
Well, that was Sid Hoffman, president of the bank.
Yes?
He just got a call from one of them big charities in Metropolis, the European War Orphans Relief.
Wait a minute.
You don't mean that...
Yeah, just like it happened after them other 3 robberies in Glen Forest, Hightown, and Thomasville. This charity gets a package by special messenger an hour ago. And danged if it ain't the $10,000.
Well, of all...
How can they be sure it's the money from this bank, Sheriff?
Well, a card come with it, Sid Hoffman said. Had the name of the bank written right on it.
Just like the others, Kent. What do you make of it?
Nothing. Unless...
Unless what?
I'll tell you later. I want to get to the office of that war relief charity as soon as possible.
That's a good idea. Let's go. What time is it?
Well, there's your answer. Noon whistles at the aircraft factory. But I got to be getting over to the bank.
We'll give you a lift in our car, and then go on to Metropolis. Come on, Bruce. Goodbye, Doctor, and thanks.
Not at all.
Yes, thanks, Doctor. So long.
Hurrying from the doctor's house, Kent and Batman drive back to Metropolis. At the executive offices of the European War Orphans Relief Society, Mr. Keeler, secretary of the society, permits them to examine the brown paper parcel in which the strange gift of $10,000 had arrived a few hours before.
Nothing on this paper wrapper, Kent. Either inside or out.
May we see the card that came with the money, Mr. Keeler?
Well, I don't know, Mr. Kent. Inspector Henderson left word that nothing was to be disturbed until he got here. He's been delayed on another matter.
Well, I showed you my special police pass signed by the inspector himself. I'm sure he wouldn't object to your letting us see the card.
Well, I don't suppose there's any harm in showing it to you. The inspector's men have already examined it for fingerprints. I have it right here. Yeah. Here you are, Mr. Wayne.
Thank you. A gift from the Lynn Haven National Bank with the compliments of a friend.
Let me see it, Bruce.
Sure thing.
Thanks. What? Great Scott.
What's the matter, Kent? You're pale as a ghost. Kent, what's the matter?
Pale and trembling, Clark Kent stares at the card in his hand. Why has it shocked him so? What has happened? At the executive offices of the European War Orphans Relief Society, Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, who is really the famous Batman, were shown the card enclosed with the stolen bank money. Suddenly paling, Kent led Wayne a few feet away, out of earshot of the society secretary. Wayne is demanding...
What's come over you, Kent? You're pale as a ghost and you're trembling.
This card. The inscription on it.
What about it?
It's in my handwriting.
his eyes literally popping from his head. Batman stares at Clark Kent in open-mouthed amazement. What does this mean? How could Kent have possibly written the card enclosed with the money stolen from the Lynnhaven Bank? Fellows and girls, there's thrilling mystery and excitement in our new story, different from anything you've heard before. So don't miss a single episode of it. Tune in tomorrow and every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, and listen to The Adventures of Superman.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. A strange and mysterious threat has suddenly loomed up to menace Superman. 4 banks located in small towns near Metropolis have been broken into by a man of seemingly superhuman strength who ripped open heavily barred windows and steel vault doors as though they were made of cardboard. Following the 4th burglary, a figure in a blue costume and red cape curiously similar to Superman's was seen leaving the bank carrying a satchel. And, amazingly enough, the following morning, the money stolen from the bank was delivered to the European War Orphans Relief Society in Metropolis. In their guises of Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, Superman and his famous friend Batman hurried to the offices of the Relief Society, where Mr. Keeler, the manager, showed them the card that had accompanied the money. As he read the card, Kent turned pale. Drawing Bruce Wayne to one side, he whispered,
This card. The inscription on it.
What about it?
It's in my handwriting.
What?
Yes. It's in my handwriting.
Now, alone in a small vacant office adjoining Mr. Keeler's, Bruce Wayne demands an explanation.
What are you talking about, Kent? What do you mean it's your handwriting?
Just what I said. Look, I'll show you. You got a fountain pen?
Oh, sure. Here.
Sit down at the desk. Now, wait, I've got my notebook. Now, watch. Let's see. Now, the card says, gift from the Lynnhaven National Bank.
Say, wait a minute.
Huh?
Since when are you left-handed?
Superman is.
But you're Superman, remember?
I'm also Clark Kent. As Superman, I write with my left hand. As Kent, with my right. Each hand writes differently.
Oh, I get it. An extra protection for your double identity. Yeah, I'll have to learn that trick myself.
Let's see, what was the rest of that inscription? Oh, yes, here we are. With the compliments of a friend. There. Now, compare my handwriting with that on the card.
Now, let's see. Say, they do look alike.
Look alike. They're identical. Look at the capital letters. And the way the G is formed in gift.
Uh-huh.
And look here. Look at the D in friend.
Boy, this is amazing, Kent.
It certainly is.
Oh, the whole setup's amazing. Witnesses say the bank robber's about your size and build. He apparently possesses superhuman strength. He wears a blue costume and a red cape. And now we discover that his handwriting is identical to yours. Oh, I can't figure it out.
Neither can I.
Unless what?
Oh, no, it's too fantastic.
You're probably thinking the same thing I am.
What's that?
The possibility that there may be another Superman.
Oh, no, there couldn't be.
Why not?
Because there couldn't.
Well, you came from another planet, didn't you?
Yes, from Krypton, but I was the only survivor when the planet blew up.
You sure about that?
Yes, of course I'm sure. Well, at least
At least what?
I'm reasonably sure.
Now, we're getting somewhere. Isn't it within the realm of possibility that there might have been another survivor? Another potential Superman who came to Earth when the planet blew up?
Well, yes, I suppose it's possible, but...
But you don't want to believe it.
Oh,
Frankly, I don't blame you. Particularly since his hobby seems to be breaking into banks.
Oh, no, I can't believe it. I can't believe there's another Superman. It just doesn't seem possible.
Well, that's what they said about the steamboat, electricity, and the telephone.
But I know I was Krypton's only survivor.
You know, but you're not sure.
Well, listen, I came to Earth in the model of a spaceship my father had built. There was only one model. How could anyone else have gotten to Earth?
Krypton was a big place, wasn't it?
Well, yes, I suppose so. At the time, I was too young to know.
Maybe someone else had a spaceship.
And came to Earth in it?
Uh-huh.
Well, then, where has he been all these years? Why is he suddenly showing up?
That's a tough question.
Well, we're certainly not going to get the answer here. Gotta think this thing out carefully, if I can think at all.
What do you mean?
Oh, right now, I've got a terrific headache.
Superman with a headache? Gosh, that's funny.
I wish I thought so.
Oh, I don't mean the headache's funny. I mean the idea of your getting them seems a little peculiar.
Well, lately, I've had them quite often. I think I'll go back to my apartment.
That's a good idea. And I'll drop down to headquarters and see if anything else has come in on that last bank job.
All right.
Say, maybe it's your eyes, Kent. Using them a lot lately?
No more than usual.
Haven't seen a doctor, have you?
No.
Well, it might be a good idea if you did. Chances are it's just some little thing.
Yeah, could be. Well, let's go. Oh, wait a minute. This card. Better return it to Mr. Keeler. Here's the card, Mr. Keeler, and thanks very much for your courtesy.
You're quite welcome, Mr. Kent.
My thanks, too, Mr. Keeler.
Don't mention it.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Elevators to the left.
Okay.
That headache's bothering you, isn't it?
Uh-huh. Getting worse.
Oh, I think a lot of it's due to this mess. Worrying about who's responsible.
I don't think so. I started having these headaches before this broke.
Now, here's the elevator. After you.
Thanks, Bruce.
You go on home, Kent. And I'll call you from headquarters if I learn anything.
Fine.
Leaving the building in which the War Orphans Relief Society is located, Batman takes a taxi to police headquarters, while Kent returns to his apartment. There, his headache easing up somewhat, he picks up a newspaper and reads the report of the latest exploit of the Superman bank robber, while waiting for Batman's call. But suddenly, unaccountably, the paper slips from his fingers, and his head falls forward on his chest. He breathes regularly, deeply, fast asleep in his chair. An hour goes by, another hour, and the sun dips, a red ball of fire, below the cold skyscrapers of the great city. At 7 o'clock, the telephone rings in Kent's apartment. It rings again and again, then, for a time, stops. At 7:30, it rings once more, but remains unanswered. Throughout the evening, it rings at intervals, and finally, when the hands of the mantel clock in the dark room point to 5 minutes before midnight, the shrilling clamor of the phone is stilled as a hand reaches out and picks up the instrument.
Hello?
Kent?
Yes?
This is Bruce Wayne.
Oh, hello, Bruce.
Where the dickens have you been? I've been ringing you steadily for the past half hour.
Oh, I've been right here, Bruce. Hey, it's dark. What time is it?
Almost midnight. Listen, Kent.
What? You mean I've been asleep in my chair for 6 hours?
How do I know where you've been? Now listen to me.
But it's impossible. I just never dozed off like this before.
Will you stop interrupting and listen? Our friend did it again.
What? You mean...
Yes, he broke into the bank at Groveton an hour ago. Tore a steel barred door off its hinges, ripped the vault open, and got away with $20,000.
Great Scott, an hour ago in Groveton?
Yes. That's about 50 miles out, near Lynn Haven. I was thinking if we got there fast...
We'll get out there plenty fast. Where are you?
At police headquarters.
Well, rush down to the parking lot in back of it. I'll pick you up in less than a minute. Step on it now.
I'll be waiting for you.
Oh, how did I do a thing like that? Out of these clothes. What made me fall asleep like that? Only I'd been awake when Batman called before. Just don't understand it. There we are. All set. Now, up with this window. Out! And away!
Leaping from his apartment window, Superman streaks through the night sky to the parking lot behind police headquarters, where Batman awaits him. Carrying Batman, Superman rocketed from Metropolis to the village of Groveton, 50 miles away, where the latest amazing bank robbery had taken place little more than an hour before. As we join them now, once more in their guises of Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, they are examining the heavy steel-bolted door which had been torn from its hinges at the entrance to the bank. A deputy police officer stands guard within the now brightly illuminated bank building, while nearby a group of excited villagers are gathered about a shrill-voiced man and woman.
Sure, Sam, it was right here. We was coming home from the quarters. I said to Sam, I says, I swear to heaven I've seen you.
You're right, Sarah.
No doubt of it, Kent. The same man who did the other bank jobs pulled this one. Just look at that steel door. Ever see anything like it?
Oh, if only I hadn't fallen asleep. If we'd come here soon after you phoned me the first time.
Oh, no use crying over spilt milk.
No, I suppose not. I can't understand how I fell asleep.
I've seen it with my own eyes. So did Sam. Didn't you, Sam?
You hear that, Kent?
Sure did.
That woman saw our man.
Yes, come on over there.
You know, he was dressed in a blue costume and a red cape, and he was flying.
That's what he was, like a bird. 1 minute he was in front of his bank, next minute he was up in the air,
What?
flying off. That's what he was
Kent.
doing, flying
Great
off.
Scott!
He was just flying off.
Stunned, Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne hear the man and woman describe how the bank robber, wearing a costume and cape similar to Superman's, had leaped high into the air and flown away. What can this mean? Has Superman been wrong all these years in believing that he is the only living creature possessed of superhuman powers? Is there another? Fellows and girls, the most baffling and exciting mystery in which the Man of Steel has ever been involved continues tomorrow. So don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station, and listen to The Adventures of Superman.
The following inserted commercial is from 2.5 years later, August of 1948. I wanted to make sure we had at least one commercial.
Say, gang, did you know that at candy counters everywhere, more fellows and girls ask for Brock's Mint Candy Bar than any other chocolate mint in the world? Yes, that's a fact. And once you've tried Brock's Chocolate Mint Candy Bar yourself, you'll know why this delicious treat is #1 in the candy hit parade. Next time you stop at a candy counter, reach for Brock's Chocolate Mint Candy Bar in the famous green wrapper. Peel off that wrapper and take a big bite of that creamy snow white mint candy. So cool and smooth, all wrapped up in a double-thick coating of Brock's famous bittersweet chocolate. Wow, that's good. And listen, gang, Brock's Chocolate Mint Candy Bar is actually 2 candy bars in one. Yes, it's a twin candy bar, 2 big pieces of that wonderful Brock's Chocolate Mint Candy. A double treat, so good to eat. Remember that name, Brock's. B-R-A-C-H-S. Brock's Chocolate Mint Candy Bar in the famous green wrapper. Creamy, swell-tasting mint candy with a delicious double-thick chocolate coating. Now, later on in the show, we'll tell you about the great new Superman Radio Quizmaster game the Brock Candy people are about to send to all Superman fans. And we'll also tell you about Brock's big Superman treasure chest, full of valuable prizes anyone can win. Be sure you're listening, because it's going to be one of the swellest offers ever made, and you won't want to miss the chance to get in on it.
Kellogg's Pep,
The super delicious cereal presents
The Adventures of Superman. A series of amazing bank robberies committed by a mysterious individual who not only seems to possess superhuman strength, but wears the blue costume and red cape of Superman, is puzzling Clark Kent and his friend Bruce Wayne, otherwise known as Batman. The robberies themselves are peculiar because in each instance, the money stolen has been forwarded to a charitable organization with a card that says, "Compliments of a Friend." Examining one of the cards, Kent was shocked to discover it was in his handwriting, the handwriting he uses in his role of Superman. As we continue now, Kent and Batman, or Bruce Wayne, are at the scene of the latest bank robbery in the town of Groveton, just outside Metropolis. They are approaching a small group of local people, 2 of whom, a man and a woman, were eyewitnesses to the robbery. Listen.
Excuse me, please. My name is Clark Kent. I'm a reporter for the Metropolis Daily Planet. This is my friend Bruce Wayne. How do you do?
Hey, hear that, Sarah? Reporter.
Land sakes alive.
Name's Wilkins, Sam Wilkins.
How you do, Mr. Wilkins?
Sure you get that spelling right. Ain't no C in it.
All
You
right.
got a fella in town named Wilkins spelled with a C.
I'm Sarah Wilkins. You going to write us up in the paper?
Well, I'd like to get your story first. I overheard you say that you'd seen the man who robbed the bank tonight?
Clear as I see you, young fella.
We was both right across the street in front of the meat market.
No, Sarah, we was just passing the Palace Barber Shop.
Sam Wilkins?
Yeah.
We was in front of the meat market. I remember telling you to stop so I could see what specials was posted on the window for tomorrow.
That was before, Sarah. We was coming to the
Well,
Palace
the barber shop seems to be next door to the meat market, so it doesn't make much difference. Just tell her what you saw.
Well, you'll never believe it, young fella.
I wouldn't believe it if Sam and me hadn't seen it with our own eyes.
Still got to pinch myself to make sure I didn't dream it.
It wasn't no dream, Sam, because I've seen it, too.
What was it?
What we seen.
Well, sure, but what did you see?
I'm telling you. We came out in the square, see, from 3rd Street. That's 3rd Street over there where the statue of Lincoln is.
We've been visiting the Fowlers. Their boy just got home from the Pacific.
yes,
He was quite
fine.
a hero.
All right.
And
You'd been visiting the Fowlers, and you came out of 3rd Street into the square on your way home. Now, when you got to the meat market...
The barber shop.
The meat market.
Well, between the barber shop and the meat market, you heard or saw something. Is that right?
We sure did. We saw this bank robber.
It wasn't like that, Sam. First, We heard the door of the bank fall down on the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's right. We heard this big crash, and say, did you fellas see that door?
Yes,
Why, it's
we
a
saw-
big, thick door with solid steel bars, and it was set in stone. But this robber fellow ripped it clean off its hinges.
Yes, we know.
Tell him about the bank vault, Sam. How he pulled the steel
See,
door
we
open.
know all about that.
Yeah.
Now, please, Mr. Wilkins and Mrs. Wilkins, tell us about the man you saw.
Yeah, well,
I'll tell him, Sam. After we heard this loud noise...
that was the door falling down.
We looked across the street, and there was this big man running out of the bank.
Yeah.
He had a satchel in his hand.
Had the money from the bank in it.
Of course.
He was a big man, you say?
The biggest man I ever saw. He must have been 8 feet tall.
Oh, no, he wasn't, Sarah. He was pretty tall and well built, but, well, I wouldn't say he was any bigger than Mr. What'd you say your name was again?
Kent.
Last
yes,
sakes
Kent.
alive, Sam, he was lots bigger. A good foot taller, I'd say.
I tell you he wasn't.
Now, look, Sam, I know what I saw.
All right,
and I
all right,
said
all
that-
right. Never mind.
But you asked me how big he was, and I'm telling you...
Didn't you hear the man say never mind, Sarah? Never seen such a woman for wagging her tongue.
Now, you look here, Sam.
Please,
Wilkins,
please, it doesn't matter, really. We know he was tall and well built. Now, how was he dressed?
Like he was going to a masquerade party. He had on a blue costume and a red cape, and he was wearing a mask.
That's right. Oh, wait. Wasn't it a red costume and a blue cape?
No, it was a blue costume.
Here we go again.
And a red cape.
I'm not so sure about
Well,
it.
I
Well,
am,
it really
and,
doesn't matter. Where did he go when he came out of the bank?
Well, you'll never believe what happened then.
I'll tell him, Sam.
No, you
He,
don't. No, you don't.
Oh.
I'm going to tell this part. You see, he ran out of the bank, like we told you, and across the street to where them twin oaks stand at the end of the village green over there. And the next thing you know, he jumped.
Didn't jump rightly. He leapt.
Jumped, leapt, means the same.
Well, go on, Mr. Wilkins.
Well, he up and leapt clean over them big oaks and flew away.
Are you sure?
I don't believe it.
Well, we've seen him, I tell you.
Clear as we see you this minute, young
Yeah.
fella. The moon was shining bright as a new penny.
Just like it is now.
And we see him fly away carrying the satchel with the bank's money in it.
Uh-huh, he flew that way to the east.
No, it was more to the south, Sam.
He went east, I tell you.
Come over here,
He
Bruce.
went over the church steeple,
Yes.
didn't he?
Well, he sure he did, but then he turned over.
No, south, over the great elevator.
What do you make of this, Kent?
I don't know what to make of it. If this man really flew...
He couldn't have. You're the only person in the world who can fly.
Well, that's what I always thought, but Mr. and Mrs. Wilkins there swear they saw the man leap up into the air.
Oh, they were excited. You heard how they contradicted each other. One said he was 8 feet tall, and the other one said he was...
Mr. Kent!
Who's that?
Oh, it's Constable Higby. Here I am, Constable. Promise to tell me if they found out anything else.
Just got a phone call from Chief Roberts over to Benson City.
Oh?
Fella came down there.
The bank robber?
Yeah, showed up with the money.
You mean they caught him?
I ain't sure whether they caught him or not. The connection was kind of bad. I got to get right over to Benson City. I'm going to get Sam and Sarah Wilkins to identify him. You two can come along. I've got my car over there on the other side of the bank.
Well, thanks, Constable, but we'll go over alone. Come on, Bruce, between these stores.
What for?
What do you think?
Oh, the Superman Express takes off for Benson City, eh?
Huh? As soon as I strip down to my costume. Now, here, this is a good spot.
Want me to get in the Batman's rig?
No. When we get to Benson City, I'll change back to Kent. I just hope they hold on to that fella.
Oh, I've got my fingers crossed.
There we are. All set. All right, hang on, chum.
Let her rip.
Here we go. Up and away!
Leaping from the shadowed street with Bruce Wayne clinging to his shoulders, Superman streaks through the dark sky to Benson City, 33 miles away. A few minutes later, once more in his guise and garb of Clark Kent, he and Wayne are in the office of Police Chief Morris, where they are introduced to Mrs. Green, a clear-eyed, gray-haired woman.
Mrs. Green is the matron of the old people's home, Mr. Kent. That's 1.5 miles north of here. That's where this Superman bank robber came down.
Why do you keep calling him the Superman bank robber, Chief?
Well, Mr. Wayne, I never heard of anyone else who could fly. And that fellow seems to have superhuman strength.
Just the same, he isn't
Oh,
Superman.
never mind that, Bruce. Would you mind if Mrs. Green told us exactly what happened, Chief?
Sure, why not? You mind telling it again, Mrs. Green?
Not at all. I'm still a bit upset, though.
Well, it often helps to talk over things that are bothering you.
So I've heard. Well, as Chief Morris told you, I'm the matron of the old people's home. I was just going to my room tonight after making my rounds when I heard a loud banging on the door.
What time was this?
About 11:30.
I see. Go ahead, Mrs. Green.
I hurried to the door and opened it. A tall man was standing there. He had a strange costume on, red cape over his shoulders. He was wearing a mask.
Mask?
I was quite startled. I said, "Who are you?" He didn't answer. Just held out a satchel he was carrying. I asked him what it was. He He just laughed. A deep laugh, and offered me the satchel again. I asked him again what it was and who he was, but he just laughed, put the satchel down at my feet.
Uh-huh.
Then he turned and ran down the steps toward the road, but before he got to the road...
Yes?
Before he got to the road, he jumped high into the air and flew away.
Uh-oh. Just like he flew away from Groveton after he robbed the bank there.
How do you know he robbed the bank?
Because there was $20,000 in that satchel he gave Mrs. Green, the same amount that was stolen from the Groveton bank. And get this, the serial numbers of the bills checked with the Groveton money.
Oh, I don't understand it.
I'm afraid I do.
What do you mean, Kent?
I'll tell you later. Well, goodbye, Mrs. Green and Chief Morris.
Goodbye, Kent.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome, Mr. Kent.
Goodbye.
Wait,
Goodbye.
Kent. You said...
I said later, Bruce.
All right, there's nobody around. Now, what did you mean when you said you understand all this?
I'm pretty sure I know who the bank robber is.
What? You do?
Yes. Wait just a minute and I'll tell you.
Outside the small police station in Benson City, Bruce Wayne, who is really Batman, waits anxiously for Kent to speak. Finally loses patience.
Come on, Kent, give. You said you know who the bank robber is.
I'm almost certain I do.
Well, then tell me, man, who is he?
I think you're looking at him.
You mean... Oh, Kent. Kent, no.
Well, according to all the evidence, it looks like I've been doing it as Superman.
Thunderstruck, Bruce Wayne stares at Clark Kent, who has just said that he thinks the mysterious bank robber is himself, Superman. Can Kent be serious? What is the explanation for his startling statement? Fellows and girls, don't miss tomorrow's exciting episode in our fascinating new mystery, when Clark Kent explains everything to Batman. Be sure to tune in, same time, same station, for the adventures of Superman.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents the adventures of Superman.
A series of amazing bank robberies in small towns outside Metropolis has greatly alarmed Superman and his friend Batman. In each case, the burglar was apparently an individual of superhuman strength, who seemingly bent steel bars and ripped open massive vaults as if they were made of putty. And then, after he had escaped safely, sent all the stolen money to charity. Several witnesses testified that the strange burglar wore a blue costume and red cape similar to Superman's, and that he had left the scene by leaping into the air and soaring away like some great bird. As we continue now, outside the small police station at Benson City, some 60 miles from Metropolis, Clark Kent has just startled Bruce Wayne, also known as Batman, with an amazing statement. As Wayne stares open-mouthed, Kent repeats the statement.
I'm afraid I'm the mysterious bank robber.
What?
Yes, after all the evidence we've heard, what else can I think?
Oh, look, pal, this is no time for jokes.
Unfortunately, it's not a joke. You see, Bruce,
Hold it. We can't talk here. Too many people around. Come on. Now, there's a diner across the street. Now, pull yourself together.
Maybe I ought to give myself up.
Oh, stop raving.
I'm not raving. The trouble is...
Save it till we're inside.
All right.
Oh, good. No customers. We can have some privacy. Take that booth in the corner.
Okay.
Would you mind turning the radio down a little, Mac?
I'll shut it off, Jack.
Thanks. Sit down, Ken.
All right. You still think I'm joking, don't you, Bruce?
You must be.
Well, I'm not.
Look, Ken, you're up against one of the toughest problems of your life. You've got to plan a sensible course of action.
Well, I don't see what I can do except give myself up to the police. After all,
stop it. You know the answer to this as well as I do. And the answer isn't you.
It must be.
Oh, nonsense.
What'll it be, gents?
I'll have scrambled eggs and bacon, buttered toast, and a glass of milk. How about you, Ken?
Oh, nothing, thanks. I'm not hungry.
Double that order.
No, I don't...
Put it on the fire, Mac.
Okay.
Look,
You can't starve yourself, Kent. You're going to need all your strength when you meet up with that other Superman.
That other what?
Don't look so surprised. You know what I'm talking about.
You still think there's another Superman?
I don't think anymore. I know. Several people saw him fly. They all can't be crazy. There must be another one.
But I tell you, there isn't. There can't be. I was the only survivor when the planet Krypton exploded.
To the best of your knowledge, you were. Look, Kent, let's face facts. There has to be another Superman. But there's no other way to explain it.
Yes, there is.
All right, how?
Well, all I can think of is maybe I'm the one who's been breaking into those banks as Superman.
I really believe you're serious.
Well, of course I am.
But how can you possibly think that... Well, that you...
Wait a minute. Relax. I'll explain. You remember yesterday when I had a splitting headache and had to go home?
Yes.
Remember I fell asleep in my chair and slept for hours until you woke me around midnight?
Now, go on.
I never had a headache in my life, Bruce. And I never fell asleep in my chair either, till a few weeks ago. It was just after my experience with the Atom Man and the cyclotron when I was exposed to atomic energy.
What are you driving at, Kent?
Just this. In the past few weeks, I've had frequent headaches, and I've often caught myself dozing or wandering around in sort of a haze. And, well, I'm just afraid that during these sleeping or dozing spells, I suffer of a kind of amnesia, a loss of memory, and I don't know what I'm doing.
And you rob banks and then have no recollection of it afterwards.
Well, yes, at least that's what I think.
Oh, Kent, I'm amazed at you.
Why?
Let's suppose you did walk in your sleep or have amnesia or whatever you want to call it, and, well, you still wouldn't do anything wrong.
What?
You've always been on the side of law and order.
But when I'm asleep and I don't know what I'm doing?
Well, you still wouldn't do anything wrong. No, you're way off base. There's another Superman, and I'm going to prove it.
How?
Well, something occurred to me a little while ago. Something you said.
Oh, golly, here it comes again.
What?
Another one of those headaches.
Listen, Kent, you really ought to see a doctor.
Yeah, I intend to. Oh. My doctor's out of town, but he'll be back today after tomorrow. I'm sorry. Go ahead with what you were saying.
Okay. When you took your notebook out before, I noticed a map on the inside cover.
Oh, yes, it's a state map.
Well, that's what I want. Let me see it.
Sure. What for?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Okay. Here you are.
You don't mind if I mark it up a little, do you?
No, go ahead.
All right. Now, look. Here's where the first bank was robbed. Glen Forest. I'll put an X on it.
Okay.
The second bank was at Hightown, right?
Right.
Hightown. Oh, here we are.
Yeah.
I'll put an X there, too.
I think I know what you're driving at, but it's no good because...
Keep your shirt on, chum. The third job was at, let's see now.
Thomasville. Here it is down here.
Oh, yes.
But you're wasting your time.
No, I'm not. The fourth robbery was at Lynn Haven.
There it is over there.
Uh-huh. There, right there.
Bacon and eggs coming up.
Just set them down on the table, please.
Okay.
Then, Groveton, right, Kent?
Right. It's southwest of your last mark.
I've got it.
Look, hold it.
Anything else?
No, that's all, thanks.
Okay.
See what you were doing with that map.
Look at the cross marks on the map. See the pattern they make?
Yes, the three-quarters arc of a circle. I noticed that before, but...
I know you did. That's what started me thinking. Now, watch. I'm going to complete the circle. There we are. See?
Uh-huh.
The arc I just put in runs through two towns, Lordville and Somerset.
You figure I'm going to pull my next bank job in one of those two towns, is that it?
No, not you. The other Superman.
I tell you there isn't any other.
And I tell you there is. There must be. For some reason, he's following the arc of a circle. And if the three of us lay for him in both towns...
Three of us?
Yes. You, Robin, and I.
Oh.
You cover the bank in Lordville. Robin and I can cover the one in Somerset.
Well, now, look, wait a minute, Bruce. Suppose I fall asleep on
We'll
the
take
job.
a chance on that. If he shows up at either one of the two banks, as I think he will, why, we'll grab him.
Well, with all due respect to you, Batman, if he is another Superman, as you seem to think, I'm afraid you and Robin won't be much of a match for him.
I thought of that. We'll carry a walkie-talkie radio, and so will you. Now, Lordville and Somerset are only 20-odd miles apart. If he shows up at Somerset, we'll call you, and you can get over in a hurry.
Hey, maybe you've got something there at that. If he doesn't show up at Lordville or Somerset, but shows up some other place, then we'll know I'm not the mysterious bank robber.
Exactly. Now, come on. Let's eat and get going.
Okay.
We've got a lot to do today. The last three robberies have taken place on succeeding nights. And unless I miss my guess, we're going to meet our Superman friend tonight.
Eagerly, Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, who in reality are Superman and Batman, make detailed plans to trap the mysterious superhuman bank robber that night. It is now late at night. Batman and Robin, wearing their costumes and hooded masks, are crouched in the dark doorway of a store. Across the deserted moonlit street is the one-story brick building of the Somerset National Bank. Strapped to Robin's back is a portable walkie-talkie radio.
No call from Superman yet. I guess that means our bird hasn't shown up at Lordville.
I guess not, Robin.
What's that?
Take it easy. It's just the town clock.
Oh. Say, it just struck once.
Once for 1 o'clock. Catch on?
I'll figure it out on my adding machine sometime.
But look, according to the police reports, this fella always does his bank busting job between 11 and 12:30. And now it's 1.
Well, maybe he was delayed.
Or maybe he's taking a night off.
I don't think so.
Listen, do you really think there is another Superman?
I'm convinced there is.
Well, golly, if there is and he comes here tonight, we're going to have one sweet job on our hands.
You're not kidding, Robin. The one time we called for help, and fast.
Who'd we call? Oh, you mean Superman.
Right, and Lord, though. Say, better check the walkie-talkie.
I did, but I'll check again.
Quiet.
What was that?
Quiet. Look, Robin.
Christopher Columbus.
Quiet, Robin.
Is it our Superman or the other one?
Whoever he is, he dropped out of the sky. Look. He's walking toward the bank. Now he's looking around.
He's got a mask on. It can't be our Superman.
Quick, Robin. Get on that walkie-talkie. Call Superman at Lordville. Tell him to get here at once.
Okay.
Come on, hurry.
Calling Superman. Calling Superman.
Not so loud.
Superman, come in. Superman. Calling Superman.
Oh, this guy heard you.
He's coming over here.
Yes, keep calling, Robin.
Calling Superman. Superman. Where are you, Superman? Come in.
What's the matter, Robin?
I don't know. He doesn't answer.
Drop the walkie-talkie and stand by for action. Here comes trouble.
Bracing themselves, Batman and Robin prepare to meet the charge of the tall, powerfully built man looming out of the darkness and wearing the blue costume and red cape identified with Superman. Who is he? And how did he drop out of the sky without warning? Is he another creature possessed of superhuman powers? Or, as Clark Kent suspects, is he the real Superman? Fellows and girls, don't miss Monday's thrilling episode, when we learn not only how Batman and Robin fare against their strange opponent, but many other amazing things. So be sure to listen Monday, same time, same station, for the adventures of Superman.